Hey cruisers, we are back with another packing video. This is our very popular series called What I Packed versus What I Actually Wore. And today I'm going to cover 3 trips, give you a little rundown. I'm going to share with you what I reached for the most, a few things I didn't wear, along with some packing mistakes that I made. And at the end, I'm going to share some travel essentials and some bags and gadgets that I bought for these trips that I loved. And along the way, I'm also going to share some flight tips. So most of this stuff is Amazon or Old Navy. Very simple to shop for. Everything is linked down below. It'll be very easy to find in the description and pinned to the top of the comments. Let's get started on our first trip that I want to cover, which was to Alaska. Now, this was not just any Alaska cruise. That was a late season Alaska. Then we're going to talk about our second trip, which was Italy and Venice in September. And then I'm going to share with you what I packed versus what I wore for my Bahamas press trip on Sun Princess with warm weather. So some wild weather variations, totally different areas of the world, but those are the 3 that we're going to cover. And we're going to start with Alaska. As I mentioned, that Alaska cruise on Norwegian Bliss was a late season cruise. And I mean really late season, you guys. We're talking like September 28th to October 5th or something like that. It should have been freezing. I should have been wearing a parka. But instead, what ended up happening on this cruise is that I was indoors more due to the bad weather and the fact that my job was to document Norwegian's Latitudes Rewards member cruise. So we ended up filming a lot and being inside, and that kind of changed what I would normally wear on an Alaska cruise. So let's get into the list and talk a little bit about what I wore most to Alaska on Norwegian Bliss. I'm actually going to start with a few of my husband's favorite items right now. My husband actually wore this Sherpa lined flannel almost every single day of the cruise. Now, we also packed him a packable puffer jacket from the same brand that was awesome, but again, because we weren't outside that much, and honestly, it wasn't as cold as we expected, he only wore that packable puffer here and there, like on Glacier Day, for just a few minutes, but this thing was like his uniform. He absolutely loved it, and the only thing missing from this was a hood. He would have thought it was like the perfect item, but the inside of this is teddy bear soft, and he just absolutely loved it, loved it. He also wore on repeat this wrinkle-free dress shirt. This one is awesome. It's short sleeve, but he would pull this off with jeans. He would wear it with dress pants at night in Alaska, and it was just super low maintenance and awesome. Now, my son kept wearing this flannel shirt quite a bit. He would actually layer this over t-shirts and things like that, and he loved it. So this is a size small for my son, and I thought the color combination was just really, really perfect with his skin tone. Okay, now for one of my absolute favorite items that I wore on this cruise. It was this flannel dress that I'm showing on the screen right now. I got this on Amazon. I wish I would have bought this in every single color available because, you guys, it just screams Alaska, but yet it made me feel a little bit dressed up, and I absolutely loved it. I think I bought it in a medium. I'll be sure to put the size down below, but this dress was everything. It was so great for Alaska. I also wore jeans every single day, pretty much. I wore my usual Democracy jeans that I love, the itty bitty boot cuts, and those were great. Now, you might remember in my pre-cruise kind of packing video where I was trying to decide what to take with me, I couldn't decide if I wanted to take these pink satin pajamas to Alaska. Well, it turns out I took them. And I loved them, and I wore them every day. The reason this was a little bit scandalous, you guys, is because they're actually a short set. And I was like, do I really want a short set in Alaska? Well, I didn't wear them on my balcony. I just wore them around the room, and they were so fantastic. I also wore this purse with just about everything in Alaska. Honestly, I think I wore this on 2 out of 3 of the trips, maybe even all 3 of the trips. This purse is so versatile. It just has a little clasp at the top, has enough space in it for your essentials around the ship. And I love this thing because it looks good with casual clothes and it looks great with formal night stuff. And I just think it is an absolute essential for any cruise for me now. It's not really the highest quality item. In fact, I've had to replace it before because the lining kind of comes undone, but I really don't care because I don't feel like I have to baby it, and I think it's just awesome. All right, let's talk about a couple of my warm layers that I packed with me and wore all the time. I wore this pink flannel with a really pretty brown shirt underneath it quite a bit. The brown shirt was a great layering piece, and instead of wearing a jacket most of the time, I was fine with just a flannel layer and the brown layer underneath it. Something I actually did not pack, but thought about packing because it's too bulky. I didn't take this beautiful Sherpa-lined hooded fleece. This one is absolutely gorgeous, but if you look at the weight on this, it was just too much to put in my suitcase. I didn't really want to wear it on the airplane, so I'm just rocking it around my house all fall and winter. It's heavenly. I love it. But again, because I pack carry-on only, I really had to think about that like suitcase space. Okay, I also took this Aztec fleece. This is more like an Aztec Sherpa just because of the softness of it. And this jacket was amazing. I got a lot of compliments on it, and it does come in lots of different prints. There's also a plus size version of this that I will link to because Zigu has a sister brand that makes plus size, and we found this the other day on one of my Amazon live streams in a plus size, and it's great. But you'll also find some other types of prints in this jacket that are really cute. Now, normally I would wear a rain jacket a lot in Alaska, right? But again, because we weren't outdoors that much, I only wore this just a couple of times, you guys. For one reason or another, I just didn't need it that much. Wasn't really that essential, but when I needed it and I wore it. I'm just glad I didn't take a big, huge Sherpa. I did make one mistake on my cruise to Alaska, kind of a packing mistake that I wanted to share with you guys. And I could have never known that this was going to be a mistake, but I packed I call them my snow boots. Even though they're really more like a rain boot and a walking boot, they are suitable for snow. Thinking it was going to be super, super cold out during those shore days in Alaska. I really didn't wear these snow boots that often, and they took up a lot of space in my suitcase. So I kind of wish I would have left them behind and just maybe packed another pair of shoes that I could wear around the ship. Oh, also, I packed an umbrella, but I didn't really use it in Alaska. What I did use in Alaska, as I always do, are a pair of binoculars for sightseeing. I have these teeny tiny ones that I take with me that I think are absolutely essential. Okay, so that was the rundown on what I packed versus what I wore for my Alaska cruise. Now let's talk about my trip to Italy. This was a short trip to Venice. This was for a shipyard visit with Norwegian Cruise Line. The weather was weird because it was September. So technically you're kind of in that shoulder season in Europe at that point. You're in the Mediterranean, so it could be really hot. But then because we were in the north of Italy, kind of up by Venice, right? It was a little bit cooler. So I wore a really interesting combination of different things that I didn't really expect to wear. So on my first day, I wore my jeans, and basically on the flight, I wore this top from Old Navy. I hope it's still available. It has come back a few years in a row, so I'm kind of hoping that you guys can get this one if you want, but I wore this on the water taxi, I wore it on the plane, and it was a really great, versatile top, and I felt like it wasn't too bright for Europe, which I really liked. Our next day, kind of our first big day in Italy with Norwegian, was actually kind of a traditional shore excursion, but it was a little bit drizzly that day. So that meant that I wanted to go with a different kind of an outfit. I actually wore this sweater on repeat when I was over in Italy. It is extremely soft. I got it in a small. It comes in lots of different colors. If you don't really like the tan, there's a black and white stripe too. But I actually paired it with these jean shorts and this black puff sleeve top from Old Navy and some sneakers. And I wore that on my shore excursion. It was a great outfit. Now, as you're seeing in the pictures, I have this cute purse that I wore this with. It was like this blue and green purse that I got on Amazon. I really loved it, but it had kind of a flaw. So this was sort of a oops mistake that I made that I may not repeat if I were going to Europe specifically. And that is The purse did not zip. It buttons at the top, but for security reasons, if you're in really crowded areas, it's probably better to have something that kind of zips. So that wasn't the most practical purse, but I thought it was pretty cute, and I did wear it quite a bit. I did use it quite a bit. In hindsight, I just might not have bought it. Now, on the day that we visited the Shipyard with Norwegian, I basically just wore jeans and I wore one of these new t-shirts that I absolutely love from Amazon. They are so soft and they just have a little bit of style. I like to put a little front tie in mine, and I've been wearing these t-shirts on repeat. Norwegian gave us these really cute blue jackets and we wore our hard hats and our steel-toed boots, so it wasn't really a day for me to worry about fashion, if you will, but that t-shirt and my jeans were just perfect. And it came in really, really handy. The only mistake I made with that shirt that I just showed you is that I should have got it in a small. It runs really big. So if you get it, go towards your smaller size or you might kind of regret it. Next for Norwegian was a gala event where I got to dress up. And this event was all about Norwegian Aqua. So I just had to buy a dress, you guys, that had a little aqua in it. And this dress turned out to be such a win. I sized quite a bit up to a large because it is a bodycon dress. I consider myself kind of a mid-sized curvy girl. So if I'm going to buy a bodycon dress, I'm sizing way up, and it was the perfect size for me. It wasn't too long. It was really cute, and I felt super comfortable in it. I just put a scarf over my shoulder, that same purse that I showed you guys earlier, and it worked out great. There was another night that we had a dress up event and I wore this white dress. I re-wore it with that blue purse, and I loved this dress until the button popped off right here in the middle, and I didn't really have a sewing kit with me. I was able to find a safety pin, but sometimes you just have these wardrobe malfunctions when you're on vacation and you have to deal with it. But this dress is really pretty and it is available on Amazon. It looks really cute with a belt and some sandals. And I think it's very versatile. If you do buy that dress though, I would recommend that you buy the lined ones. They also sell them completely unlined in sheer. So unless you have something to wear underneath it, you're gonna wanna buy the lined ones. Couple of flight tips I wanna share with you because in order for me to get to Venice, I had to take a red-eye. One thing that I highly recommend that you take with you if you're going on a red-eye flight or an overnight or anything over like a 6-7 hour flight where you might wanna take a little snooze is a travel pillow. Travel pillow is just such a nice way to kind of relax. I got this one from MV Lock and it's really great. You can actually flip it around towards the front and give yourself a little bit more support and kind of allow your chin to fall down on the airplane. And it just provides a little bit more rest, which I think is fantastic. Another tip for you, if you're taking a very long flight and there's any chance you could get separated from your luggage, make sure you pack these two things: a change of shirt and a change of underwear. Imagine arriving to your destination and not being able to get to your bags. You get separated from your bags and you don't have a clean shirt or clean undies. I always put a clean shirt and underwear in my carry-on in case anything happens. And that way you can freshen up before you get off the plane if you want to as well. So a good reason to do that. So now let's talk a little bit about the last of the 3 trips that I want to share with you in my kind of packing rehash. This last trip was on Sun Princess. This was actually the most recent one. This was just middle of October. It was a 3-night sailing to Nassau, and it was a media trip. So I knew I was going to be running around a lot, doing a lot of different things. So I actually overpacked pretty extensively for this trip because I knew that I could get away with it. For only 3 nights, I could kind of double pack and still have lots of choices. And that was kind of fun, not having to worry about what I had because I had a lot of extra items. So this was a warm weather cruise. And here are some of the items that I absolutely loved. This green one-shoulder dress that I got years ago on Amazon. I pulled it back out of the closet and I loved it so much. It was really cute for an outdoor event that we went to on the first night. Then this new romper from Amazon. This is kind of wild. I was not sure I could pull this off when I saw it on Amazon, but I just fell in love with it. It was so beachy and so cute. And I ended up wearing that romper on my boarding day. It was so comfortable in the Fort Lauderdale heat. It was a really warm day. I was sweating and I just felt like I could breathe in that romper. It was fantastic. I also wore this gorgeous orange floral dress with a belt. It was so nice. It was kind of perfect for an October cruise because it was a little bit fall-like, but yet I found that the flowers were kind of festive and a little bit extra fun. I also packed some travel slippers on this trip because sometimes even when a cruise company provides you with slippers, you really never know if they're going to fit. Turns out the one on Sun Princess, they were probably a men's size 12. They were way too big, so I wore my travel slippers most of the time. Now the shoes that I reached for, this is interesting, on this Sun Princess cruise were kind of my old school Adidas Stan Smith shoes. They were a lifesaver for the flight. I wore them a couple of times for walking around when I needed a closed-toed shoe, and they were great. I really don't feel like I made any packing mistakes on Sun Princess because I overpacked and I had double what I needed. And to be honest, you guys, Princess Cruises on most of their ships, they have irons and laundry rooms. So I got to press things, which was a huge luxury compared to some of these other trips that I went on where there were no irons. So that was amazing. Let's talk about some of the accessories and other items that I packed with me that I absolutely loved. One of the items I've been carrying with me for the last little bit is this brand new pill case. It comes with these labels. You get to customize it to your needs. I pack a combo of supplements and like vitamin type things, prescription medications, and I also pack preventive medications and like over-the-counter stuff in like a mini medicine kit. So the types of things that I'm going to have in here would be like ibuprofen, tummy medications, and I also packed a good amount of motion sickness medication for all three of these cruises from Bonine. These are chewable, max strength, and I highly recommend this formulation. It wasn't so much that I was worried about getting seasick, although we did encounter some rough seas in Alaska. What I was worried about was if I was going on a bus or some other form of transportation where I might just feel kind of woozy. And I utilized these on 2 out of 3 of my trips. So pack it, hope you don't need it, and know that the Bonine chewables are really nice. But yeah, this pill case, you guys, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. I also got a gorgeous new set of packing cubes. They are compression cubes. They are floral, they are lightweight, they do come in other colors, and they are stunning. They are so effective, and I use them in my suitcase on several of these cruises. I also got a brand new oversized duffel for my personal item. It has a shoe bag built into the bottom where I snuck my Stan Smiths into this suitcase, and I love, love, love this duffel. Probably very few airlines are going to let you take this on as a personal item. American, Delta, United, maybe within the US, but do not try to pull this thing off with Spirit or a budget carrier or abroad, because if they have really tight restrictions on what you can take on the plane, it's probably going to be a no-go. But I have taken it with me on American 2 times as a personal item in addition to a rolling suitcase with no issues. As I mentioned earlier, I also packed my travel size binoculars and used them daily in Alaska. They were wonderful. For my flight, I also had really good luck with this little pocket-sized mirror with a light on it. It just worked out absolutely fantastic. I also got a brand new charger a few weeks before one of these trips, and this brick is so powerful. You do have to use a cable to attach it to your phone. It doesn't like magnetically attach or anything like that, but it was so reliable for me. And with all the filming that I was doing, I needed something powerful with a long-lasting battery, and this thing really held up. Lastly, I packed this scarf with me, and it was an absolute lifesaver. I used this on every single one of my flights, even when I was cruising to a warmer destination, because I could wrap it around me like a sweater when I didn't have access to a sweater or a jacket. If I was a little bit tired on the plane, but it was a short flight, and I hadn't packed my neck pillow, I could make it into a makeshift kind of neck pillow. And I wore it to some of the dressy events in Italy and on the cruise ship. And it's just, a scarf is just a wonderful thing. This one's really nice and fuzzy without being too thick. And of course, I'm going to link to that because it is a must pack for any flight or cruise. So what did you think? Did you find anything you enjoyed today? Any packing mistakes that you've made lately that you want to share down in the comments? We would love to hear from you. Check out all of the links to these products, and I'm also going to link to several other packing videos I know that you will love. Thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.